Here.
Dale Sowers,
Here.
Stephen Overby,
Here.
David Wright, Tim Quinn.
Here.
No, David had a medical issue to deal with. So anyhow, do I hear a motion to excuse Commissioner Bragg?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alice, could you lead us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, as we come to you tonight, we thank you for each and every one that is present. And we ask that as business is conducted, that it will be what's best for the town and best for each one here. It's all in your hands, and we ask that you be with each and every one present. Thank you that they took the time to come out. All this we ask in your precious and loving name. Amen.
Amen. All right, everybody has the agenda in front of them. If there's no changes to the agenda, do I hear a motion to approve it as written?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the December 5th, 2022 meeting. I believe everybody took the time to read the minutes. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to approve as written?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Departments report, Code Enforcement Officer, Lieutenant Chris Jensen.
Evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you, Chris. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. All right, good evening, everybody. Starting out with, Buck's Corner. The Buck's Corner, coming from 58 on the right-hand side, the one that's, been underway now for about a year and a half. Not much to report there. There is a new trailer there. They got rid of the one and put another one in. They're still making progress. They're maintaining the property the best they can. So, that's all I have to say about that one. 1105 Highway 58. The update there is he's starting to let a lot more stuff accumulate around the property. We had to talk about that. And we had to talk about his landscaping stuff coming up this spring, which is gonna get bad. So he's gonna try to tend to that now and hit it off at the pass. 169 Bucks Corner Road. This is actually been a good thing. So I informed him that he was not going to get his zoning if he did not clean his property up. He in fact is working diligently now at cleaning up that property. The old decrepit double wide that's been like the bane of my existence for the past 3 years is now down to the metal sticks, and he's looking for a place to recycle those metal sticks right now, and he'll be tearing that down. And then I'll be moving on to a camper. He's already torn down a trailer that used to be 193 Bucks Corner, I believe. And that's been torn down as well. So he's diligently working, trying to make preparations and trying to come here for the board's approval. So he's trying to gain compliance. It's actually a great move. This actually worked out. And so it made me very happy. Some of the aforementioned 119 Pettifer Road, same condition. We might wanna get together, put our heads together at some point and talk about, we had mentioned an abatement issue, coming up where the town would move in and take the action of the cleanup, which is costly, of course, to the town. So we would have to pick and choose, those. Like I said, I have a list of about 10 properties where we could probably get to work on, but we'd have to line up the contractors for it and, of course, shell out the money for it. So this is something that you guys are gonna have to consider. I don't know how you wanna proceed with that. I can make a list, pictures, but you let me know about that. I can make a report, and then you can look through it and just tell me where to go, where to move next. That would be fine. Any way I can help in that endeavor, I'm here for that.
Is this the one that has the trailer out front?
Yes, 119 is the ugly two-story dealio that hasn't been maintained in about 4 years now, and they moved a camper in.
Were you ever able to make contact with him about the camper?
I've been out to his property twice in Maysville, and no, I've left 2 notes. I've tried calling him. I got a phone number off my computer, but no, he's not contacted me back. So.
Thank you.
Oh, in fact, I sent a letter to him too, and it came back undelivered. Like, I sent, what do you call that, certified mail, and it came back to me, he wouldn't sign for it.
Okay.
Last bit of business, the racetrack. I got a call from, one of the townspeople about the racetrack. It was December 8th, which was a Thursday, where they were running, the race cars around the track. And the Thursday is not one of their prescribed days to be running race cars around the track. Since that issue's gone back and forth in this hall several times, I was kind of unsure about it myself. But I went out there because I got not 1 call, 2 calls, 3 calls from town residents concerned about the cars going around that track. Went out there on my motorcycle. My motorcycle is loud, and I can hear the racetrack or the race cars over my motorcycle, so it must have been loud. They were running full steam ahead. I went out and I spoke to one of the park representatives because Mr. Lowry doesn't like me, and he came out and he talked to me, and I said, "Hey, shut down. You know you're not supposed to be running cars." So he did, but I have him on 1 minute of tape running the cars. And then, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. What time did you go, Chris?
Would have been roughly 1600, 4
Okay,
o'clock.
they started about 9 o'clock in the morning and was still going at 7 that night.
So,
And I'll admit, I'm one of them to call.
okay, and I admit that you were my first call.
Cause it was driving me crazy.
So went out there, and then I talked to that young man, and they shut down for about 40 minutes. And I went and talked to another resident that lives close by, and I was shooting the bull with him. And about 40 minutes later, promptly, they started right back up again and started running the cars. So I put it on tape for another minute. In fairness to Mr. Lowry and his business, I didn't sit out there with my stopwatch and clock how many minutes, because it's $500 a minute according to our ordinance. What I did was I have 2 minutes of tape, so I fined him appropriately with that, 1 minute and 1 minute, obviously, $1,000, okay? I included a copy of the citation I've drafted that I handed to Mr. Lowry, and I went and spoke with Mr. Lowry this morning, and we had a conversation, and he intends on fighting, said fine. And he informed me that it was in the hands of his attorney presently, and I said, fantastic, whatever. And that was about the crux of our conversation. But that's what I did there. I just wanted you guys to know how I proceeded with it. It was given to an associate of his, it was given to Mr. Lowry, and it was mailed to him. I don't know if it ever made it to his hands from the mail, but, cause he's got a lot of people working for him that will sign for things. And all I got back was a scribble. So, but at any rate, he admitted to me this morning that he did in fact get that letter, and it is in the hands of his attorneys presently. With that said, are there any questions? Oh, wait, I need to do the police part. 56 calls for service last month, kind of a low-key month for Peletier. 40-ish of the calls came out of Peletier, and then like the remaining 15, 16 calls came from your ETJ. Nothing much to speak of. There were no deaths that I'm aware of, although I was away for 10 days in Pennsylvania last month because of the Christmas holiday in the fifth wheel in Pennsylvania with my bulldog. Okay, so with that, any questions of me?
What,
Go
is
ahead.
there any, time frame on when that should be addressed with, Mr. Lowry?
I didn't know how, to be honest with you. I had no guidance.
Okay.
That citation I drafted right there was the best I could come up with off the cuff. It mimics certain citations from other towns, but they're very hard to find, very hard to come by. I don't know why. It's like a secret sauce. But so what I did was I came up with that citation, and I also included the verbiage from our town ordinance along with said citation, and I highlighted each section that were violated and what the fines were for the violations. So he would be well aware of why he was getting this letter. I didn't know how else to go about it, but I figured if our ordinance is written as such, a lawyer at one point saw it, good enough for me, here it is. So, all right, any further questions of me? All right, I'll be here to the end if something pops in. All right, and we'll get together on, do you like the idea of me making a list of maybe possible abatement?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, then I'll come up with that for the month and then, present it to you with my next report.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
All right.
All right, next is West Carter Fire and EMS report. Chief Hunter.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, board members, and members of the public. For the month of December, thank goodness, it was a little bit quiet. We don't like to use that word in the fire and EMS service. It's like the naughty don't say word, because when we say it, usually things break loose. Total of 156 calls for the month of December. Peletier had a total of 22, 16 EMS calls, no fires in Peletier, 1 motor vehicle crash, and then 5 calls that come under the other category. Of the 156 total for the whole district, 106 were EMS call, 20 were fire related, 5 were motor vehicle crash or rescues, and 25 were rated other. Usually we're right around that 70% monthly for EMS calls, and as I've said many times, for fire departments that are fire-based EMS that run fire and EMS, usually it's about 70 to 75% of the calls are EMS calls, and then the others are fire-related, motor vehicle crashes and what have you. For the month of December, only 14 calls, or approximately 9% of the responses, were mutual aid or automatic aid outside of our district to our neighbors, which is it's a good thing. That means that our citizens who pay the bills receive the large majority of our calls. In the report, you have the comparison of 2022 to 2021, and one of the things that is very clear is that we were 8 calls below last year's total. Now, that is even though, and if you remember back in September, I told you all that I had sent a letter to Onslow County because we had been making so many calls into Onslow County. After that, Onslow County basically stopped calling us at all. that means, and one of the things that happened there, they had more people come in on the job, they hired more people, they had more ambulances on the road, and I guess they were a little upset that we sent the letter that we did. But we had no calls, so that cut us way, way back. So we did our figuring and calculating, and if we had continued at the rate that we were at with Onslow County calls, we would have been at about 2,100 plus calls, which would have been, once again, a big jump for us. So trying to save on our own people, because every EMS call is about a minimum of 2 hours, and that's whether it's at noontime in the daytime or midnight at night. That's a minimum of 2 hours, depending on where they transport to, and that includes their report writing and what have you. So we're trying to save on our people, and we're trying to save on our equipment, because as you know, I have told you in the months past as well, is that ambulances now are hard to get, and we're living on 2 ambulances right now, and one of those are in the shop. So we had to cut back on those Onslow calls. So even with that cutback, we were only 8 calls below last year. I'm working on, today I was working on our end of the year report, and just some facts for this board. In 2010, when the ILA took over fire and EMS, we had 869 total calls, and we had 7,000 residents. Now, of course, in 2017, we merged with the Stella Fire Department and began running to that. Now, the total population for our district is over 12,000 people, and we're running almost 2,100 calls a year. So that's a jump, and that is going to continue. So since 2010, when the ILA officially took over the fire and EMS department, our department has responded to 19,915 calls. As you all know, our personnel have saved many, many lives, over a few hundred lives that we can actually say are documented that our personnel have actually saved. That's not to mention the people that we just helped, got them to the hospital and what have you, but several hundred that our personnel have saved over those years. So just wanted to bring that to you in this report. The ILA will be receiving the end of the month report, and your appointed members to the ILA board will be able to make that report available to you all as well. Any questions? If not, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, financial report. So right now, our general account, we have $253,502. Our PAL bill account, we have $32,989. We are starting to receive some of our AVAL tax money. So anyhow, nothing is really out of the ordinary. Some of our money from the miscellaneous will need to be moved to the attorney's fee, because I'm sure we got another big bill coming from him as well. So is there any questions? All right. Planning report.
No report, no meeting.
Okay. All right, commissioners report. Commissioner Quinn.
Only thing I have is, finally got, well, first of all, I hope everyone had a happy new year. And the other thing is I finally got a report back from, or a letter back from Greg Murphy's office about the post office that we requested. And basically at this time, the United States Postal Service does not intend on putting one over here in western Carteret. But We try. We're not giving up either.
Gotcha. Okay,
Nothing to report.
all right. Yeah.
Nothing.
Well,
I just want to commend Chief Hunter as well as the sheriff's department for what they do for us out here. And you talked about how many were saved, how many people actually lives were saved. Just one of those lives is worth all the money that we get here.
Yes, sir.
well,
Thank you.
okay. The mayor's report, I do wanna, mention about the church. We have worked on the inside of the church. We scraped all the walls and ceilings and repainted, the sanctuary. The women's bathroom, the floor was rotted under the commode, so, we repaired the floor, put new flooring down, and got it all fixed up. So anyhow, the heat and air system's in there, there's a little bug to it, they're gonna fix it tomorrow, and, so anyhow, eventually we'll have heat and air inside, so, so that should be taken care of tomorrow about noon time. So other than that, I mean, the church is coming along, we just got, some permitted stuff that we have to do, which is the one foundation area that's rotten and, the handicap ramp. As soon as I figure out how to get that handicap ramp to look right, cause it's gotta be 27 feet. You know, it's 27 inches high, so I gotta have a 27-foot long ramp. When you have a ramp a certain size, you gotta have an area a flat spot for the folks to rest on, and that takes up more room, and I just don't want it to be out in the woods before you can get on the thing. So anyhow, so once I get that figured out, I will, draw it up and apply for the permit. Okay, we'll move on, new business is the vegetation waste ordinance. With this being the second Monday of the month, our attorney has another meeting he had to be at because we're supposed to meet on the first Monday. So anyhow, that's why he's not here, and this will be, ready for us at the 1st of February, at our February meeting. And what we're planning on doing, once the commissioners looks it over, if they send it to a public hearing, we're gonna have that public hearing 10 days after that meeting. And that way, we can approve it on 10 days after the first meeting. So anyhow, that way we can move it right on. We don't have to wait till, March or anything.
So basically, it'll be a special meeting, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
there'll be a
Okay.
special meeting for that. So anyhow, so that's our plans. Now, any commissioner have any comments they would like to make on this? All right, since it is on our,
One
agenda.
thing I wish, but of course this is like hindsight, I wish that we had done this, we had done this like a year ago. But,
Yeah.
It brought to our attention, but that's just the way things work.
Yeah. But since this is on our agenda and it's under our new business, do I hear a motion to table this until next month?
Make a motion to table it to next month.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who's second?
And everybody approved. Okay, next is public comments. 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
First I wanna say I stopped by the church last week, and, this last weekend looks really good. It's looking really, really good. So, I wanna talk about, the speed limits, and following up on West Fire Tower speed reduction in Peletier. I called Stephen Hamilton at DOT on the 3rd of January, since I noticed that the signs haven't been changed. And this is what he told me. He hasn't received any notification or any documents regarding Peletier, West Fire Tower, regarding the speed limits. But this is what he said. He said it's up to the town to take the initial action to send in the resolution, paperwork, or whatever forms were used previously when I was able to get Peletier Loop speed reduced. He said if the town is unsure what to do or what to send in, he said this is all they have to do. Send in to James Evans, and I have his number, copies of the minutes of the meeting and what the town voted for. The town needs to stipulate the action they took when they voted to change the speed limits on West Fire Tower and technically all of Peletier. As soon as Evans or Hamilton of DOT receives this, they will send the town a concurring form to do away with the 45-mile-per-hour zone. And I would just ask the town to please follow through with this as soon as possible, immediately, since this was, voted on a while ago. And there are children on that road, and maybe this will help mitigate the dangers of the intersection of West Fire Tower and Peletier Loop. Mr. Evans is diligent and highly responsive in getting the speed limit signs changed. So as soon as the town starts this, I think they can move forward with it. And so thanks for that. And I also want to say it's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so thank you to Chris Jensen. And following up on that racetrack, I actually called on the 8th of December. I called the racetrack, and what they told me was, it's private practice. It doesn't matter. They can run. And I've just noticed in the last 2 years, it's getting louder and louder, and they're operating outside the time frame that's in that ordinance. And I suspect they're not using the stock mufflers, because it has definitely gotten louder the last couple of years. Okay. Oh, here's a copy. Who would I?
Just let me hang on
Okay,
to
it's got what Mr. Hamilton said.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, I did forget one thing I wanted to bring up in my report. Mr. Scott Williamson, our fire inspector, fire marshal, has retired, and our new fire marshal will be Mr. Bob Penrod, and he'll be getting around and meeting everybody, and he's going to, hopefully this week, he'll meet Chris, and he's very experienced fire inspector and fire investigator, retired from Camp Lejeune Fire and Emergency Services, and also retired from the Swansboro Fire Department. He was the chief in Swansboro for a few years, and he is now our fire marshal. Again, very, very good and very experienced man, so we're expecting good things there.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am?
I'd like to,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I would like to express my appreciation to Chris and all of our law enforcement that we have. They do one hell of a job without a lot of respect.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to inquire to see if we could have a town sign made. We don't have one.
But at the,
Something like they have down in Cedar Point. Something.
if we
that-
got a place to put it.
Well, I mean, the signs, the DOT signs that are up aren't correct, are they?
No, they're
Yeah,
not in
they're
the
not
right place.
correct. So it would be nice if we had a sign. You
That's a
know?
good idea.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how much something like that would cost. I mean,
well, the biggest thing is,
Just
let's
like-
say,
say
Down-
the town of Peletier and
yeah,
when it was established,
yeah.
you know?
I could ask, Mr. McNeil if he would let us get a little spot on his place to put one up. I
Or you
don't
put
know
it
who
on-
I would ask
You
up
put it on
here.
58 there.
Yeah, but you gotta, the sign's gotta stay out of the state right of ways.
Okay.
So-
On the right of way in a certain side.
So
Yeah.
it'll be on someone's property.
Yeah, so you,
My brother-in-law's, sister brother-in-law, Don and George Robinson, with their house, that's on that end, coming in town.
Yeah, it's close to the end, because, we do have the Dollar General down there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would let us put it there.
They
I mean,
might
I
us.
But we-
In front of the Dollar General.
They might let us so we quit bugging them about keeping their yard ditch mowed or.
They probably charge us to mow it. We would have to mow it to put it up there, but,
Don't forget to stop at the Dollar
I
General.
mean, that's a good idea. We could check on it and see, so.
Yeah.
Can't you just carve us one?
Huh?
Can't you just carve us one?
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
about
I mean,
that.
I thought just something would look nice,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to look like the one in Cedar Point, but,
no, we would have to come up with our own little thing, so.
yeah. And the only other thing I had to say was, and Chris, I know there's a shooting ordinance, but the people that live over beside us, the Sunday, they must have been shooting for 2 or 3 hours straight. And I mean, we live in Silver Creek Townhomes. So if we wanna walk those golf cart paths, it's in the woods on the back side of the complex there. And if you walk behind there, you feel like you're gonna get shot at. So
Was that
there's
where
gotta
all
be
the-
something that can be done about it.
Was that where all the shooting was going on in the evening too, that was
Yeah.
late into the evening?
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I live up off of Old Church Road and we could hear it, and it was, it sounded like a young war.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
heard it.
at the back end of the townhomes,
Is it back,
we're in the last building, so we really hear it.
is that back close to where Eddie lived? I mean, where,
It's in the woods back there, you can't see the houses, there's 2 houses back in
I
there.
live next to her. I was the one who talked about it several months ago. We had a meeting.
I live out
I,
there too.
I walked back there last week because there was some shooting, and I wanted to find out exactly where they were coming from. So where the church is, they're on
Peletier
Loop Road. There's a house or something going up right across there. It's address 435 Peletier Loop Road. Well, I thought the shooting was coming from there. But when I walked by there last week, I was trying to find out, you can't look from the golf course in there because of the trees. So there are like 3 lots that have been bought there, but I was thinking it was 435, which is sort of near where we live, and it's right across the street from the church.
And he's talking about the red brick church, not the white church.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something we can do
Noise,
about that or not, I mean.
noise ordinance, cause, did you call the cops when it was happening?
No, I didn't, but I will next time.
Do it, that way at least we can know where they're at and see if they're actually in the right or wrong.
Cause I mean, it's just a scary thought if you wanna walk back there.
It's a starting point anyway, just call it, we get those calls all the time, it's no big deal.
So
We'll go
just
check.
call the cops.
Hey, there's shooting going on, it's concerning me. Simple as that, yeah. And they'll send a cop out to investigate.
Okay,
Alright?
alright, thanks.
Okay, anybody else?
Steve, have you heard the shooting back there?
Yeah.
I hear. Time, where's it coming from back there, do you know?
He's talking.
Let's see.
You don't know where it's coming from?
It's either those 3 lots, there's 3 tracks right there.
Yeah,
So it's coming from,
yeah, that's where it's
and there's
coming
some, I don't
from.
know, go back there and look
It's
at it.
close to your house, all right?
It ain't me.
You're not guilty, huh?
But it's close to you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright. Alright, we'll move on then. Old business none at this time, new business none, or, other business none at this time. Commissioner's comment, Commissioner Quinn?
Well, we hopefully did a successful test run with the video tonight, and I'll be trying to get it out to the commissioners this week sometime, and I haven't really pinned down the delivery method, but we'll do it and get it to y'all and see what y'all think. And again, hope everybody had a happy new year, and glad to see everybody participating.
Just glad to see everybody tonight, and looking forward to next month when we're discussing the waste site ordinance, and hopefully we get it passed, and y'all have a good evening and Safe trip home.
Dan?
No.
Walter?
Just glad to see everybody out here tonight, and, appreciate all the reports from Chris and Steve. And especially all the comments too, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, also want to thank everybody for coming. Be safe going home. Our next meeting is Monday, February 6th at 6:30 here at the Town Hall. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.